Miami, 1986. A postcard picture, sun-drenched beaches, sparkling blue water. Tourists loved it. They came in droves, seeking paradise. But paradise had a shadow. Crime wasn't just knocking on the door, it was kicking it down. Miami was a beautiful city, and a dangerous one. The tension was a living thing. The drug trade was booming. Cocaine cowboys. They were kings, ruling their turf with iron fists and automatic weapons. Millions of dollars flowed, and so did the blood. Shootouts in broad daylight, bodies turning up in canals. The city was on a knife's edge. Ordinary folks lived in fear. Law enforcement officers were outnumbered, outgunned, working overtime, always. This wasn't about stolen hubcaps or purse snatchings. This was big league, organized, brutal. Into this cauldron of chaos stepped two men, William Platt and Michael Maddox. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, they were on the case. These bank robbers were a menace, hitting hard, fast. They'd rob a bank, an armored car, then vanish, like smoke in the wind, leaving behind terror, and sometimes bodies. The Bureau doesn't like ghosts. They like names, faces, and cuffs on wrists. The director wanted these guys yesterday, so a task force was born. FBI agents, sharp, experienced. They knew Miami's labyrinthine streets. They knew the criminal mind. They started their work, sifting through clues, connecting the dots, looking for that one thread, that one mistake, that would unravel the whole thing. The pressure was immense, from above, from within. Every day that passed, the danger grew. But Platt and Maddox were slippery, smart. They used stolen cars, switched them often. They moved like shadows. Who were these men? William Russell Maddox, Michael Lee Platt. They weren't born evil, nobody is. Both had worn the uniform, served their country. U.S. Army, Platt, a Ranger. Tough training, Maddox, military police. They understood discipline, they understood weapons, they knew how to inflict damage and how to take it. This made them dangerous, very dangerous. Life after the service took a dark turn. For Platt, tragedy struck. His wife died, he changed, became bitter, hardened. Maddox had his own demons, his own path to darkness. They found common ground, a shared resentment, a thirst for something more, something violent. They were a toxic mix, a partnership forged in anger and sealed in blood. Their criminal careers started, robberies. At first perhaps just for the money, but it escalated. The violence became more pronounced, especially with Platt. He seemed to need the confrontation. April 11th, 1986, a Friday. The sun was climbing, another hot Miami day. But for the FBI task force, it was different. They had a sixth sense, a gut feeling. Today might be the day. Intelligence suggested the duo was active, planning another hit. So the agents hit the streets, a rolling surveillance, 14 agents, 8 unmarked cars, eyes scanning, every nerve ending tingling. They were deployed strategically, covering likely routes, likely targets. They were looking for one specific vehicle, a black Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Stolen, of course, it was Platt and Maddox's signature. The minutes ticked by, each one an eternity. Every dark sedan made hearts leap. Was this it? The waiting was the hardest part, the anticipation, the dread, the hope. Then the radio crackled to life. Special Agent Ben Grogan, his voice calm but urgent. He had eyes on it. The Monte Carlo, 2 occupants. The FBI cars moved in, a coordinated effort, trying to box the Monte Carlo, hem it in. The location, 12,201 Southwest 82nd Avenue, Pine Ridge Road, a quiet residential street. Kids probably played here. Not today. Today, it would become a battlefield. The suspect's car was forced to a halt. Agents bailed out, guns up, voices sharp. FBI, show us your hands, freeze. Platt wasn't interested in surrendering, that wasn't his style, not even close. From inside the Monte Carlo he raised his weapon, a Ruger Mini 14 rifle, a serious piece of hardware. He opened fire through his own car window. The quiet morning shattered instantly, replaced by the deafening roar of gunfire. Chaos, pure unadulterated chaos. FBI vehicles became battering rams, slamming into the Monte Carlo, trying to pin it, trying to stop the threat. Cars collided, metal shrieked, glass exploded, agents scrambled for cover, but cover was a luxury. The air turned thick, with gunpowder smoke, with the screams of the wounded, with the high-velocity whine of bullets, hundreds of rounds exchanged. In mere minutes, Platt was like a machine, firing his Mini-14 with deadly accuracy, reloading, firing again. He'd been hit multiple times, but he fought on, as if possessed. He simply would not stop. He would not go down. Maddox in the passenger seat joined the fray, first with a shotgun, blasting away, then a handgun. Agents returned fire, with their service revolvers, their shotguns, but they were at a disadvantage. Platt's rifle had superior range, superior firepower. He was cutting them down. It was a brutal, unequal exchange. He was a wounded animal, cornered, and incredibly dangerous. Special Agent Ben Grogan, one of the first to spot them. He was hit. Early in the fight, a devastating wound. Special Agent Jerry Dove, also hit, mortally. Yet he continued to fire his weapon, trying to neutralize Platt. Special Agent Edmundo Mireles Jr. He felt the impact, a .223 round. It was a moment that would change everything. It shattered his left forearm, his arm hung useless. The pain, unimaginable. But he couldn't afford to focus on the pain. But Platt was still active, still killing. The threat was far from over. Mireles knew he had to do something, he had to act fast. He couldn't let his fellow agents die, their lives depended on his next move. He grabbed his pump-action shotgun, it was his only hope. One-handed, he fired, the pellets missed. His heart sank. Platt continued his deadly advance, unfazed. Mireles dropped the shotgun, he needed another plan. He drew his .357 Magnum service revolver. It was now or never. Again, with his one good hand, his right hand. He steadied himself, he struggled to his feet. Every movement was agony, propped himself against the door of a wrecked vehicle. He took aim, as best he could. He squeezed the trigger, his focus was unwavering. Once, twice, 3 times, 4, 5, each shot a desperate prayer. He hit Platt, multiple times. The bullets found their mark. These shots finally began to slow the killer down. Special Agent Gordon McNeil. He was grievously wounded. The scene was chaotic. Shot in his right hand, shot in the neck. The injuries were severe. The neck wound temporarily paralyzed him. He was immobilized, yet his mind was clear. He knew what needed to be done. He continued to provide vital information, his determination unwavering, even in the face of death. And then, silence. A heavy ringing silence. The gunfire stopped, the echoes faded. The chaos that had erupted moments before was replaced by an eerie stillness, leaving only the sounds of pain, groans, whispers. The wounded lay scattered, their cries a haunting reminder of the violence that had just unfolded. And soon, the approaching wail of sirens. Platt was finally down. The authorities were closing in, bringing a semblance of order to the chaos. Maddox was dead inside the bullet-riddled Monte Carlo. The car, once a means of escape, now a tomb. The intense firefight had lasted less than 5 minutes, but in those brief moments, lives were changed forever. But the devastation it wrought would last a lifetime. The cost was staggering. The street bore the scars of the battle, a grim testament to the violence. 2 FBI agents made the ultimate sacrifice. Special Agent Jerry Dove, Special Agent Benjamin Grogan. They died heroes, their bravery etched in history, their badges stained with their own blood. Symbols of their dedication and the price they paid, lost in the violent streets of Miami, a city that had seen its share of bloodshed, now marked by another tragic event. 5 other agents were wounded, each one bearing the physical and emotional scars of that fateful day. Some, like Edmundo Mireles Jr. and Gordon McNeil, with life-altering injuries. Their lives forever altered by the events on Pine Ridge Road. Their courage was beyond measure. Their actions, a testament to their commitment and bravery. Their scars, both visible and invisible, would remain, a constant reminder of the price of duty. Pine Ridge Road was a scene of utter carnage, the aftermath of a battle that left no one untouched. It looked like a war movie set, but this was real, horribly real. The kind of reality that leaves a permanent mark. Cars pockmarked with bullet holes, windshields spiderwebbed, the vehicles, silent witnesses to the violence, shattered glass glittering on the asphalt like deadly diamonds, pools of blood, the remnants of a brutal confrontation. The Miami Shootout of 1986. It wasn't just another gunfight. It was a confrontation that would change the course of law enforcement history. It was a seismic event, a clash that echoed far beyond the streets of Miami. It sent tremors through the entire FBI, shaking the very foundations of their operational protocols, through every law enforcement agency in the country. The ripple effects were felt nationwide. It was a brutal, bloody lesson, one that came at a tremendous cost. A wake-up call of the deadliest kind. A stark reminder of the dangers they faced, paid for with the lives and well-being of brave men. The Bureau knew. Things had to change. The status quo was no longer acceptable. And they had to change now. Immediate action was imperative. This could not happen again. The stakes were too high. The investigation that followed was meticulous, exhaustive, no stone left unturned. Every detail was scrutinized, every bullet, every weapon, every tactical decision, scrutinized, analyzed, compared. Nothing was overlooked. The agent's standard issue .38 special and 9mm handguns, their shotguns, all were evaluated, against Platt's Ruger Mini 14 rifle, a weapon of superior firepower, and his sheer will to kill. His determination was unmatched. The disparity in firepower was glaring. The agents were at a significant disadvantage. The agents had been outgunned, badly. They were fighting an uphill battle. The FBI acted decisively. They knew immediate changes were necessary. They began the process of transitioning to more powerful sidearms, semi-automatic pistols. The need for better equipment was clear, specifically the 10mm auto cartridge, and later the .40 S and W higher capacity magazines. Better stopping power. Body armor was upgraded. The changes were comprehensive and necessary.